We have been lucky enough to have him in our campus since 9th grade. During his high school career, Shayaan has excelled in every subject, but he loves physics and math the most. Shayaan's not only a member of the math team, he also helps write the practice tests. He tutors other members, and he is an American Invitational Math Examination qualifier. Shayaan loves physics. He loves it so much, he exhausted all of our physics options by the end of his junior year. As a result of his dedication to the topic, he's also qualified for the USA Physics Olympiad. While he loves math and science, Shayaan is a very well-rounded student. He enjoys and excels at pretty much everything he does. He's a Quiz Bowl champion, a USA Geography Olympiad team member, and a history buff. His English teacher says he's also a natural writer. He's a first-degree black belt in Taekwondo, and he's won gold in sparring at the World Martial Arts Championship as well. He's a gifted pianist who was selected by the Chopin Foundation to perform at the Young Pianist concert. When Shayaan is not busy studying, competing, sparring, or playing piano, he's volunteering. And while he participates in many volunteer activities, his favorite is OpenStreetMap. Through this online community mapping program, he has documented the Earth's surface through satellite imagery. He's contributed over 200 hours of his time to this mapping effort, and by doing so, he's added details that emergency responders and humanitarian organizations can use to save people. He helps these teams know precisely where people are located and how to get to them quickly. It's amazing that he can help all these people while just sitting on his computer. He became interested in this program initially while he was studying at Yale for the summer, and he was drawn to it because of his love of maps. He's going to return to Yale in the fall, where he will major in global affairs and chemistry. When I asked him what his career goals were, he said he was undecided, but he thought being a revolutionary leader sounded good. It is my pleasure to introduce our first co-valedictorian, the brilliant, curious, kind, and maybe even revolutionary Shayaan Subzwari.
This week, while many of us were sitting through AP exams and reminiscing over our high school memories, a Nepalese Sherpa climber successfully scaled Mount Everest for the 23rd time in his life. And I know this seems kind of off topic, but I think somehow this story is kind of relevant to us. As we graduate from high school, college seems like just another mountaintop that we have to climb and conquer. And of course, as we stand at the summit of our high school experience, we now have the ability to choose which path we want to take down. But also, as I hear about these true adventures that people are accomplishing all around the world, it makes me think of the sort of adventures that we're drawn to here. Whether it's the entirely fictional worlds that we've become attached to in Game of Thrones and Star Wars, or the incredible stories that we look for in the Avengers and Harry Potter, we continuously and repeatedly fulfill our desire for the exciting and the extraordinary through fantastical and extravagant narratives, leaving us to somewhat forget the adventure that lies beyond the screen and outside the covers of books. And it's not only these stories that demonstrate this. Whether it's the royal wedding or the Met Gala, we always see realities that try to confirm our interest towards the material and superficial. Sometimes I think we get so caught up in these superficial distractions that we forget there's a whole world of things going on around us. So when J.K. Rowling says we don't need magic to change the world because we have the power already, I think she has a point. We don't need these magical fantasies and realities to exclusively fulfill our adventures. We can find excitement enough in the world around us. We don't need narratives and material diversions to find an adventure to adopt as our own. Instead, I think we should look at issues in our world that we can help resolve and truly make these our own. So some of you might be a bit confused as to what I mean when I say we need to embrace the world around us. What I'm saying is that we have to take on the problems, issues, and matters that characterize our times and make them a part of our own adventures. And I think that so far, we've done a pretty decent job of that. Whether it's our activism in response to the tragedy of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, our discussions in Ms. Hendricks' roundtables on society and culture, promoting genocide awareness through the Butterfly Project, or teaching rural Cambodians English through TASL, I believe we, the class of 2019, have already found ways to look at our world and adopt his problems as our own. But as we are about to graduate and settle in these idyllic sheltered bubbles that we call college campuses, I'm asking that we don't forget about the world around us. As the world becomes more connected and more polarized, there'll be more issues that we have to discuss around tables. There'll be more topics from which we must provide awareness, and there will be more people that we can teach through organizations. And there will be more tragedies that we must respond to through activism. All I'm asking is that as we get ready to take on these next few years, we don't forget our place and our obligation to incorporate these issues into our own adventures. I'm also asking that we don't lose sight of exactly how big our world is, and thus how big its problems really are. When I turn on the world news, and I find that 9 out of 10 of the headlines are domestic related, or when I find that people simply haven't even heard of the ongoing crises in places like Yemen and Libya, I ask that we expand our understandings and horizons. We're not just citizens of South Florida and the United States. We're citizens of the world, and it's our duty to be aware of what's going on in it. Just as how Frank Ocean says he sees both sides like Chanel, it helps to expand our perspectives. Sometimes the biggest adventures that we can take on lie outside of the familiar and outside of our own borders. Lastly, J.K. Rowling says we carry all the power we need and that we have the power to imagine better. And we do, but I think that reality can sometimes be even more magical than anything we can imagine. I mean, who would have ever imagined the stories from the past 4 years that have brought us? It's all about those moments that we won't forget, from winning all those sports championships to staying up late on those long, exhausting overnight math and model UN trips. I don't think any of us could have ever imagined the course we've taken. So seriously, as we move on to the next few years, don't structure yourself and be aware of the adventure that really is out there. Sure, let your imagination run wild and come up with the craziest possible things that could happen. But it's important to keep in mind that we have to explore, and we can't come up with all the adventures that we'll take on. And perhaps more importantly, we can't forget the potential for adventure that always lies past the next mountaintop. As Lil Uzi Vert says, I got different color on my diamonds, I can't even see the time. Just like how Lil Uzi can't seem to focus on the time on his watch when his diamonds are shining right back at him, sometimes we're so caught up in our distractions, we forget about the world of things going on around us. But it's always there. You just have to look past the flashy diamonds for it. Thank you, American Heritage Class of 2019, for making the past 4 years of this story with me. As I exit the stage, I ask you to embrace adventure. Be open to the real problems in our world. Take up activism, promote awareness, problem solve, and make these world issues your own. But as of right now, thank you for this adventure, and I know that there still will be many more. Thank you.
So when I asked teachers to describe our next co-valedictorian, they all started by saying, he's really quiet. But then they went on to describe a young man with a quiet confidence, who also apparently has a very good sense of humor.